Hello, hello, everyone. It is Rosala Carrington, and
Michael Leedy.
and we are here today as your Rainbow Millionaires. We're doing a live hangout, and actually, this is a very special hangout for me and Michael. We're going to go over specifically why. What's your why? What is a why, and how it's going to help you along on your journey. So, yeah, Michael, go ahead. I'd like when you take over and tell us why we do these hangouts, because you always summarize. It's a little bit different every time, but you always summarize it very perfectly. So I'll let you take over.
So, as Rizal said, I'm Michael. I'm Michael Leedy. The reason why we created these hangouts is because we realize that there's a lot of people out there who are stuck in jobs where they don't necessarily like the job, but they do the job because that's what they've been trained to do, so that's what they do because that's what they know how to do. But they hate it and they want to do something different, but they don't know that there's anything different out there other than what they do, right? So we decided to create a weekly hangout where we don't sell anything, but instead we share what the possibilities are for you. Because there are possibilities. There's tons of possibilities, and they all involve you basically creating your own business around yourself. You're branding yourself. The question is, what are you interested in? What resonates with you? What feels right? Who resonates with you? Like, what do you want to do? So that's why we did this, which kind of is a nice lead into what a why is. Rosala, I did that. Like, do you want me to just continue, or do you want to start with your why? Do you want to start?
I was thinking maybe we can both share our whys and then talk about, share our whys, maybe talk about how it's helped us along our journey and maybe why it's important they should have a why.
So what is your why, Rosala Carrington?
Well, I have a short why, which is my why is freedom, the freedom to live the lifestyle of my dreams. Some people ask, what's your why? I say it like really short, that's my why. My why is freedom. Now, the long version of my why is when I first started in this industry, I was living in Germany. I was living in Germany not because by choice, of course, but there was a law in the United States at that time, about 2 years ago, called DOMA, and it restricted same-sex couples from sponsoring their partners to become to get a green card and live in the U.S. So my wife and I, we of course wanted to live in the U.S., but we couldn't because of that law. So the phrase is coined. Some people think it's a little extreme. I don't really think it's extreme. But my why is I was exiled. We were exiled and forced to live somewhere where we didn't want to live. And when you have freedom, you get to live where you want to live. So my why was freedom, the freedom to live where I wanted to live, and I didn't want to have any government, lack of money, or lack, to stop me from living the life, stop us from living the lifestyle of our dreams. So when I started this journey, I figured out that to find freedom and to find a way to live a better life, I had to help other people find freedom. So my why is freedom, and to help others find freedom, as well as to show people that you don't have to be only exiled from a specific, law. Like we were exiled from the U.S. because of a law at the time. Of course, that law is currently overturned, just got overturned last year. But you could be exiled from living in the house you want to live in. You're exiled to living in a certain area because of lack of money. You're exiled from seeing your family as much as you like because of lack of money, because you need to work all the time. Like, there are different types of exile. You feel exiled within a community. You feel you don't belong and that you're on the outside because of lack of money usually. A lot of times everything usually boils down to money. Correct me if I'm wrong, Michael. But that's my why. My why is freedom, to help others find freedom, to live the lifestyle of my dreams. And when I say lifestyle, because it's not really the life, because style, it could be anything, and it's up to me to define that. So it's my dream isn't going to be the same as your dream, isn't going to be the same as the next person's dream. So that's the long version of my why. Does that make any sense? I always like to keep it short, and then I like to keep it long at the same time.
I like that you did both the abridged and the unabridged versions of your why. I'm gonna follow that suit. After a question though, just to confirm though, when you say exiled, it wasn't like the United States kicked you out.
No,
It
no,
wasn't like you're banished from the kingdom, right?
no, no.
No,
It was just,
it
yeah, it
was
was.
we have freedom if we move to Germany and we live where you're from because we can be together there. Germany doesn't care.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a friend within the. I guess you would say it was within a very small community of people, same-sex binational couples. So that's a pretty small community. You would say, oh yeah, I'm living in exile, but amongst ourselves, we knew what that meant. But for other people, they'd be like, what do you mean exile? And then you would explain it to them, and they're like, oh, I kind of understand. But a lot of times people don't understand because they're not in the same situation. But it's just being being forced to live somewhere where you don't really want to live.
So that you can be together.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we could have illegally stayed in the U.S., but we can't do that. She's German too; they don't do that over there.
Right.
So,
Hey, I mean, why not go to Germany anyway? Sometimes the United States can be a little bit boring. Hello.
it wasn't a bad experience at all. Not at all. It was just kind of like not having the choice.
Right.
To decide wasn't what we wanted. We wanted to have the ability to decide, but when someone tells you no, you have to either live here or there. But it was a great experience nonetheless. It was an amazing experience. I got to discover who I am, and now I'm, doing this with you. So if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Well, wow, that's great. And I'm so glad that it happened then because we're together like
yes.
this. So my why is kind of similar, actually, but it's really grown and changed over the last, 19 months since things have changed. When I used to work in the music industry, I worked, 12 to 16-hour days. I made good money, and I dealt with clients who most people would think are glamorous because they're all over the radio, like all over the radio. But that's why I was working 12 to 16-hour days, always on call, always on my phone, always texting, always dealing with emails. And I was frustrated because all I would do for those people is solve problems that they created, and I didn't want to do that. And I really wanted to make a difference. I was thinking wellness, something like that. I guess I'm giving you my long version first. I was thinking wellness or whatever, but it wasn't until I kind of quit my job, just quit it, with zero plans, went and traveled around Spain, Marrakesh, and Istanbul, and came back that I discovered even what a why was, which was the fact that I do want to help people create freedom in their lives and help them get out of being stuck in the same place I was stuck in. Like you were stuck in a country situation, I was stuck in a work situation where I went to school for the recording industry, I got into the music industry, I was in it for 10 years, that's all I knew, those are the only people I knew, to me, I didn't know what else there was I could do. So I was like, you know what? I know there's more. So let me figure it out. And the only way I'm going to do that is if I get out of this. So I left a great job with great insurance, and I worked with great people. Like the people I worked with, oh my gosh. And even some of the clients, they were really cool. But the projects were insanity. Insanity, not like the one I'm going to do when I get off this hangout and sweat my ass off with Sean T. Not like that. We're talking just crazy people. So I wanted to help people. And that's the bulk of the why. Now, it's changed, like I said, over the last 19 months because now I'm realizing, wow, I can really help people, because with the opportunity that I work with, the system that I work with, I'm able to work with so many different people and so many different like small businesses or people who are just getting started online or people who are looking for something to do online. Like I can help all these people, and it makes me happy because I get to work with all these people, become successful in what they're already doing. So that's really cool. But what's new thing that has come to me is like, I'm going to start working on creating a grant. I'm going to apply for a grant, and Rosal, you don't know about this yet.
I didn't, yeah, so I'm like, what?
Yeah, but what I'm going to focus on with the grant is to who I really want to help, ultimately, even beyond all this business stuff. I was just thinking I would use the funds that I make there to do this, but now I just discovered that grants is free money. So I'm starting the process of working on that so that I can use that free money to help kids who have, like LGBT kids who have been displaced from their family, who have nobody, who think there's nothing for them in life, who think they're just going to be screwed for the rest of their life because they have no family, their friends are all broke, they all have this broken. I want to connect with these kids and show them that they can do anything they want, and they can create the lifestyle that they're looking for, and do it by building a career and a business around themselves, by branding themselves, because it's possible. And I figure if these kids are displaced, I want to be the person who can help them shine the light on themselves so they can accomplish anything. So that's really my big why now is kids. And I'm the person who, like, don't put a baby in my hands, because I don't know, I'm like, ew, a baby, ew, it just dumped. It's like, I don't know. But, like, I really want to help kids. I do. And so it's like, so now my why has just gotten so much bigger once I discovered about these grant possibilities. So in a nutshell, just like Rosella, my why is I'm looking to create freedom for myself and other people. That's the abridged version.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know. Are we getting comments, or like, I wonder?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, guys. So if you have questions, comments, please feel free to comment below. Or I'm actually just doing what you're doing right now, checking and see if there's any comments, questions.
So essentially, while Rosella's looking here, a why is the reason that makes you tick. It's the reason that makes you want to create change in your life. It's a reason that makes you almost want to cry. There's a book called Start With Why
by Simon Sinek.
Yes. This is a great book. I'm trying not to get reflection on it. Is it backwards in your screen?
No, it's right.
It's backwards for me.
Oh. So. Probably. I actually just, like, first of all, Simon Sinek is brilliant, and I think I saw the YouTube video he did, or they recorded and put it on YouTube. And when I watched that, when he talked about starting with why, I mean, he used Apple a lot as an example. It kind of really, like, a lot of times if you don't know, if you have a journey and you're, like Michael said, you're building a business, you have to first, develop yourself. And a lot of times you have to dig deep and find out, why do you want this? And you can start asking yourself a lot of different questions, like, why do you want to help people? Like, why? Why not just do this for yourself and talk about starting moving forward? Why do you think, Michael, a lot of people, when they have their whys, like for us, and we're not the only one. Why do you think people want to help people first find themselves freedom, but help others find freedom? Why do you think it's important for people to do that?
Well, because I think it goes back to the fact that, we were put on this planet to work together and create love, right? That's why we were put here, is to experience emotion and create love and positivity. And I think so much of that has been taken away from us that people just forgot that that's why we're here, and they've been conditioned to kind of be stuck and settle for complacency. And or mediocre, as is another word I like to use. And I think the drive to help people is because everybody knows that there's a better way. Well, not everybody knows. There's some people who realize that there's a better way, and that they're willing to go out and find that better way so they can present it to the people who don't believe there's a better way. And that's what, if you're someone who's just starting online, there's a better way, and you're going to do whatever you can to make it work, because you know that it works. If you're a person who's been doing it for a while, then you already know that it works, and you're helping people, you're collecting people and helping them with the mindset and change the conditioning so that they can then, because they want to believe, a lot of people want to believe, and so they're willing to step out and try it. And then those, and then there's the people who don't believe and think that the only way they're going to live in life is if they just get by and live paycheck to paycheck, because that's how it is. There's nothing better, and they are really the stuck ones. And those are the people that I'm really interested in helping, in the adult format, because there is a better way, and I realize that the only thing is conditioning. So why? What was your question? I divert.
No, why do we want to help people find freedom?
Well, I think because a lot of people don't have it. 90% of the world does not have freedom. Even people who make $100,000 a year do not necessarily have freedom. There's some people who work jobs and make $500,000 a year, and they work 20 hours a day. They do not have freedom. Why people want to help people create freedom, we're talking like making $500,000 a year and working 4 hours a day. That's freedom. Now, how do you do that? How do you get that going? You got to get started, and you need a vehicle to do it. What's that vehicle is the question. Rosala and I work with different vehicles. But we still work together here. We're not promoting the vehicles right now. Right now, what we're doing is sharing that if you have a reason, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your family, maybe it's your parents. I know one of my whys is that I have two sets of parents. My parents were divorced when I was 2-ish, and they've, of course, been remarried since I was 7-ish, and I love all 4 of my parents, and one of my things is I want to make sure that they never have to worry about money. Now that means I have 2 sets of parents to take care of. That means in addition to taking care of myself, I've got not just 1 set but 2 to take care of, so that just adds on top, like another reason for me to help even more people become successful, because the more people I help become successful at finding themselves and creating something out of what they discover, and this is what Rosala is doing too, is that the more people we help, the more success we create for ourselves. I had a millionaire tell me one time, if you want to be rich, make people rich. Does that make sense? I'm going to say it again. If you want to be rich, make other people rich. And it never made sense to me, because now I look back, because now I realize he was in network marketing. I didn't realize what that was back then, and he was talking about phones and all that stuff. Now I understand. I get it. But it all makes sense to me now. So that's my intention to do this. And that's what other people in this industry, wouldn't you agree, Rosala? That's why everybody's doing this. It's for their families and friends and kids and churches and communities, right?
Yeah, that's perfect. You actually took the words right out of my mouth. I don't know, was it Andrew Carnegie or Napoleon Hill? He said, no, one of those guys. They said, if you want to get what you want, you got to help others get what they want. So what you just said about the millionaire who told you that was spot on. Like, we help people because we know, we are it's helping ourselves. So I guess you can say it's not really being, in a sense, like, being completely selfless. We're helping ourselves at the same time. We're helping others grow. We're helping others find what they're looking for. Because, here's the truth. You said 2 things, Michael. You said there are those who believe and there are those who don't. And unfortunately, the people who don't believe that there's another way, that there is a chance, there is an opportunity that they can live the lifestyle of their dreams, they outnumber, I believe, maybe 10, 20 to 1 the people who do believe. So imagine if you can show somebody, 10%, 20%, There's so much abundance out there in the world. There's people. We live in the world of lack. And I really truly believe that it was kind of created for us. I don't want to say like people have purposely created a world of lack for us, but created it made us depend on like people, the government, our employers, companies to provide for us because if we need them. That's why we're stuck in these jobs, right, Michael? We're stuck in these jobs. We make $500,000 a year. What if we just saved the money, quit our job and just started working our own business? But we don't know that because we feel like we're stuck there because our companies make it seem like it's the only thing that we have. So I guess before I went off on a little bit tangent, but I guess just to go back to what you were talking about, those who believe and those who don't believe. Me and Michael both are. I mean, of course, we still work with the people who do believe because they're coming to us if anything. But the people who don't believe, we work with them because, believe it or not, like Michael said, he wants to help his family, his friends. They're strangers who haven't become friends yet. They're people who need us just as much as we need them, or vice versa. And that's why it's our mission to help them, to make the world a better place, to reach out to those individuals because it's been too long. It's too long right now for us not to help each other. I mean, we're just living lives, and if we just live lives just thinking about ourselves, the world will never change. Imagine if we helped each other just even a little bit, just by simply allowing them to believe that there is another way. But I guess that's when we come in and we ask people at least I know me and Michael do this, and I know a lot of other leaders who do this as well. Before we even start working with other people, we ask them, they tell us how much money they want to make, they say, oh yeah, I'm really excited, I can totally do this, but then we ask them, why do you want to make money? And that's what we're asking you. Why do you want to make money? Why do you want freedom? Who is it for? Is it for yourself? Is it for your family? What's your reason why? And the reason why it's important to have a why is because there are going to be times, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, where it's going to get so hard. It's going to get so hard. You're going to be talking to 20, 30, 40 people a day, and no one signed up. Everyone keeps giving you, some people say, nah, I'm not interested. Some people say, let me think about it. Some people say, let me ask my wife or husband, and people just, it doesn't seem like it's working. And that's when your why comes in handy. And that's kind of the secret, if anything, I believe, to success. Knowing your why and using it when it's necessary. At least that's what me and Michael do. Whenever we feel like it's getting really, really hard, we just think back to why. When signed up. What about you, Michael? What do you think? You want to add on to that?
I was just checking our page. I think you actually nailed it quite well. I missed like the last couple seconds because I was like refreshing the page to check on comments and whatnot. But exactly, it's all about what it is and your reason for wanting to create change. Why are you looking to make, I'm not going to, I could repeat everything you just said, so I'm not going to. What I can add to it is, and this was running through my mind, normally I'm taking notes, but I'm not doing that today because it helps me loop things back around. Oh, and it had something to do with, you're talking about the why and the reason and the money, and there's an ice cream truck going by, so sorry if it gets annoying. Hopefully he doesn't park. I lost my train of thought. Crap.
You were at ice cream truck.
I know. I got the frickin' I get one of my wives to leave this neighborhood. What I invite you to do here, instead of asking you questions, I invite you to um, ask yourself, you know, are you 100% happy with where you're at? Are you 100, not 70%, I mean 100% happy with where you're at? And if you're not 100%, ask yourself, why? Why am I not 100%? Matter of fact, write these things down. It's like, okay, if I'm not 100% happy, what would make me, 100% happy? And then you'll start putting things, and you'll probably say, like, of course, more money, a nicer place to live, better clothes, a nicer car, those things will start to come down first, right? And so like, okay, well, if I had these things, what good would that do me? What's my purpose in this? Like, why would this make me feel better? So if I had enough money to have all of those things to make all that better, then what? Right? Then what would make me, why would I be, doing things to make myself happy? And then create a list that's even like more outside. What is it? Do you want to help your family, like Rosala and I are talking about, or your wife or your husband or your kids? Is it your, I say church. I'm not a church person, but I know there's a lot of people out there who do church. So, I mean, do you want to help your church? Is it your community? Is it orphanages? Like what bigger? You could help those. So think of the things that if you could do these things, if there were no limits to anything and you could do anything you want to help whoever you want and do whatever you want while you're vacationing and whatever and all these things and working less and making money while you're, because you learn how to leverage your time. You could do all of these things. You could really dig in and set your purpose, like, so that you really accomplish these things in life. What are those things? And if you can dig into those to the point where, like, if you can imagine having those things in place, it's not just material things. I'm saying, like, having things in place where you're helping all of these people in addition to yourself or whatever it is, where you're so happy that it brings tears to your eyes, because that's how much joy it would feel to accomplish these things, right? Like, what if you could just do this? You would be so happy, right? It's frustrating. It's like, oh my gosh, I would just love to do this because I could make such a difference. I would be so happy. And you imagine being in that moment where it brings tears to your eyes. That, my friends, is your why. Like, to help you just kind of like figure out, like, you still might think Rosala and I are a little bit crazy people. It's like, what are these people talking about? But we've been with not enveloped, but immersed into this mindset for a bit now. And so, that's why we're sharing it with you and just kind of giving you ideas to help you realize that there are ways out of the situation that you may be stuck in, that you just may not have been presented to you yet, or perhaps maybe they've been presented, but you weren't open to receiving them, so that you can say, okay, these guys keep coming back every Thursday to share these topics with us, and they're doing it. They're not trying to sell anything. They're just here to share with us so I can better myself. Maybe these two are right, and I can accomplish anything I want in life. Let me just dig in a little more. Okay, so that's kind of what's going on here. So I don't know. I feel like I feel like I've gone all over the place today. Rosala, you want to reel me in?
No, that was actually perfect. The way you talked about, like, it, when you think about your why, it really touches you so deeply that it brings tears to your eyes. Just the thought of it, and sometimes it doesn't bring tears to your eyes, but it brings a deep emotion. The emotion where you get choked up, there's like a frog in your throat and you can't breathe. So you actually kind of hit the nail on the head again, Michael. I can tell you right now, having a why is going to help you when you get to these deep, dark places where you feel like maybe there isn't a way. And that's when your why comes into play, and that's what's going to help you get out of that place. I sometimes like to think about like kind of being a kid again. I know that's a little bit weird, but when you're a kid, or even just get around kids and listen to them, they'll ask you, you'll tell them, oh, you can't do that, and then they'll say why, and then you tell them, well, you can't do that because of this, and then you'll say, well, why can't I do that? Why I should be able to do this, and you go, well, no, you need to do this, or this is impossible, and they'll just keep going down the line of they'll keep asking you why, and you'll keep trying to think of an answer, so you get to the point where you can't give them an answer anymore, and you are literally stuck thinking, well, maybe you can, because there's no other reason why you shouldn't. So that's kind of something that I do with myself. Like I play with a little like, okay, well, if I was a kid, or if I had a kid around me, or because I used to work with kids sometimes, they used to always ask me why, and I used to be like, well, you know what? And then you sometimes go, well, because I said so. But then there's no other reason why you shouldn't be able to. I used to have kids say, well, why can't I dunk? Well, because you can't jump so high. Well, how do you know I can't jump that high? And you're like, well, because you can't. And like, well, how do you know? And it's like, well, and you have to stop right there. How do you know that there isn't a better way? How do you know that you can do this? So I like to use that a little, like, I guess you can say a little mind trick for myself. But what Michael said pretty much was perfect. When you think of your why, before you start anything, I'm talking about any journey in life, whatever it is, before you start it, you have to know why you're doing it. And if you don't, unfortunately, it's going to be very, very hard for you to keep going, because no matter what, I don't care what anyone says, don't listen to people who say it was easy. Because if someone says they got somewhere and it was super easy and they didn't do anything, that's a lie. That's a 100% lie. They work their asses off. They have a why. And I promise you, they've had challenges. I mean, me and Michael have had challenge after challenge, day after day. And what keeps us going is that we have a why that's strong enough to push us forward even when we don't want to. So that's what why is to me and Michael, and that's why it's important for us to have a why, and that's why it's important for you to have a why, if that makes any sense. Like, we want you to have whys, because no matter what, if you're working with us, if you're working in the same industry as us, we want you to succeed. And that's probably the biggest tool you can have, is a why.
It's the reason that keeps people going forward. I'm looking up a few quotes at the second. Just for examples, for people to, hold on a second, new tips. Yeah, there's two great examples, and I don't have any exact quotes on one. I do on the other. Two great examples of things where people had a why, where everybody thought they were crazy. Everybody. One of them, like when it's at night and you need to go to the bathroom, so you get up and you can't see, so you run into things on the way until you finally get to the light switch and you turn it on so you can see your way, right? Okay, light bulbs used to not exist. And the only reason why they exist is because Thomas Edison has been quoted to say, "I have not failed. I've found 10,000 ways that won't work." Does that make sense? I didn't really say what he did. I say what he also did that we don't know. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 different ways before he made a light bulb that works. Do you see what I'm saying here? He failed. He insisted that he could get light, not fire, but electricity, to heat up a coil inside of the bulb so that it could stay lit, so that people could flip a light switch, so that they could have light in their house without accidentally burning it down. People thought he was crazy, and he failed 10,000 times to make this happen. And we forget that he failed 10,000. Now we might say, oh, well, he was lucky. That's not lucky. He made it happen. People who have really nice bodies, yes, Gisele Bündchen probably has some kind of genetic things that make her really stunning, right? But I'm doing Insanity right now, and I don't expect to look like Shanti after a week of Insanity and eating normal. I eat super healthy. I'm in my second month, and let me tell you what, I'm starting to see abs and cuts in places on my body that I've never seen before. I did not expect to see it overnight. I expected to work at it so that I could have a body that makes straight guys stop and look.
Can you show us your body?
Well, I'm still working on it, but look,
What?
this gameplay, but look at this. I've never had this, right? And like, I'm starting to get like, yes. So it's like,
good job, Michael.
Thank you. But I'm working my ass off to do this. Okay. I didn't expect to have it overnight. And the same thing goes for any of you who are watching this who are going, oh, I can't do that. That is self-limiting belief that was conditioned in you by your surroundings, television, news, media, anything. Because you kind of hit the nail on the head when you were talking about, I forgot how you said it, but it has to do with, the governments and all this stuff. People condition us to be this way so that we could be worker bees. Okay, Eric Worre, who's a great network marketer, okay, he has this book called Go Pro. And he talks about the different types of jobs there are. There's, blue collar, white collar, sales, management, and network marketing. And he's not saying that anyone is worse than the other because everybody, does certain things. He's just saying that it's a better way because, there's residual income built into it, i.e., once people join and they start creating success, people keep joining, you're stacking money. Your pay scale is limitless when you do something like that. You can just keep stacking, and it's all residual, so it keeps coming. So he says in his in a speech that he did, I think when he was around 29, he said, I can't quote it because I can't remember the exact words. He goes, in 1890 or in the 1890s,
1910, I think.
1910, is that what it is?
I think it was 1910. I believe he was like 1910 to 1990 or something like that. That
makes sense. Okay, so basically he's saying in 1910, 90% of the population of the United States of America were people who worked for themselves. They were independent people, right? And then 10% was the government. And what's happened over the course of the 100 years is 90% of the people work for somebody else. And those somebody else's are that 10% who own everything. And basically what's going on is that 10% is keeping the 90% down. Of course they're going to want you to think you can't do anything else. Of course they're going to want you to think that 3 weeks vacation is good and $70,000 a year is a good number. Of course they want you to think that. And if they work together, they can keep everybody there. Of course. And why do you think everybody stays in jobs they hate? Because that's all they think, because that's what the system is placed on them. Now, of course, are they faithful? Absolutely not. People are getting laid off all over the place. People are getting outsourced, like jobs are getting outsourced over in, India and China because they can do it cheaper. Computers are taking over. And if you think that there's going to be jobs coming back into the world in these places where people don't even like to do those jobs anyway, if you think that it's coming back, I've got news for you. It's not. So what we've got going on here is you can start by thinking of things like your why, reasons that you would like to create success in your life that are outside of the current success that you're having or success you're not, okay? And you start just imagining of those things and why you would want to do these things. You can start generating success in your life that's beyond what you ever dreamed. And that connects with a what. What can you use to do this, which is actually our topic next week. I just thought I'd connect the pieces so people come back. Because listen, guys, yes, there's a why. Once you have the reason, then you need a what. What can you do? What is intrinsically you that you can do, that you want to do, that'll allow you to achieve the why? We can't cover all these topics in one day. We needed to just get the wheels turning. So today, the topic is why. Next week is what. And I'm kind of done. I think I tapped out with all of that. Rizal, back to you.
That was amazing. You always know how to just end it on an amazing note. Uh, I mean, guys, get to know, write down your why. Come back next week, and let's talk about what you're going to use to make your why and make your dreams come true. Michael, do you have anything? I mean, like, if you want to, I'll do this before because you always do this, but if you want to connect with us and learn more about what we're doing to make money online, me and Michael both, like he said earlier, we both have businesses that can be done online. They're both awesome. Feel free to click the green button below, connect with us, send us a message. Maybe tell us your why and why you want to do this and how we can help. So, but that's pretty much it on my end. Do you have any other closing words, Michael?
I'm all set. You did it. You did that so perfectly, Rosala. I was wondering. You got it. You're like, oh, let me get this in there. Click that button below. You know, I was like,
You always,
yeah, girl.
you always do that, and I always forget. Like, oh yeah, I forgot to do that. But
Yeah,
that's
it's about working together. That's really what it comes down to.
there we go. So, with that being said, my name is Rosale Carrington.
And this is Michael Leedy.
Thanks for checking us out on our live Rainbow Millionaires Hangout. And until next week on Thursday around the same time, we will see you guys later.
All right. Have a nice night, guys.